an Oregon gunman has singled out Christians during Rampage. My thoughts and prayers are with the victims' friends and family members today. This is an awful tragedy, and sadly, it's really just the beginning of these types of events. The gunman who opened fire at an Oregon community college was forcing people to stand up and state their religion before he began blasting away at them, survivors said Thursday. A woman who claimed to have a grandmother inside a writing class in Snyder Hall, where a portion of the massacre unfolded, described the scene in a tweet. The shooter was lining people up and asking if they were Christian, she wrote. If they said yes, then they were shot in the head. If they said no or didn't answer, they were shot in the legs. Folks, the persecution of Christians can no longer be denied. I mean, we're aware that this happens in areas of the Middle East and other places of the world, and we'll get to that. But this event goes to show that the war on Christianity has gained momentum, and it's beginning to spread like wildfire. Courtney Moore, an 18-year-old student at Umpqua Community College, who was also in the room, told Oregon's News Review that the shooter was indeed on the hunt for Christians. Once they all got down, she said the gunman began asking people to rise and say what their religion was. After they stood and gave their answer, he started shooting. The latest news is that 10 have been killed and 7 have been injured at the Oregon Community College. Sheriff says 10 people were killed in a shooting at an Oregon Community College. Douglas County Sheriff John Hanlon says 10 dead and another 7 injured is the best, most accurate information that we have at this time. A student at an Oregon Community College where a deadly mass shooting happened says she was in a writing class when her teacher got a call from security saying the school was on lockdown. And of course, here we have Vice President Joe Biden predicting that investigators will find that a semi-automatic or automatic weapon was used in the Oregon College shooting. And that's really no surprise there. I mean, the state is going to jump all over this to push for more gun control. But the problem isn't guns. The problem is that mankind is trying to convince themselves that they are God. And anything or anyone that stands in the way of their ideology from being spread across the face of the earth, like the Christians, for example, must be destroyed. But the war on Christianity certainly isn't new, and in fact it's thriving quite well in places like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's new law imposes death sentence for Bible smugglers. You know, we're constantly being told that ISIS is the biggest terrorist threat on the planet, but keep your eyes off of Saudi Arabia. There's nothing going on there. They're our allies, in fact. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the hypocrisy is actually quite astounding. The Saudi Arabian government has reportedly passed a law that imposes the death penalty on people caught smuggling Bibles into the majority Muslim country. According to the Heart Cry Missionary Society, the Saudi government issued an official statement signifying that capital punishment may now be used on those who smuggle Bibles into the desert nation, where the royal family upholds a strict Wahhabi brand of Sunni Islam. The Society's report added that the death penalty, which usually comes in the form of beheadings, can also be used against people who simply distribute Bibles and all other publications that have prejudice to any other religious belief other than Islam. This means that anyone handing out any kind of religious literature that is not of the Islamic faith can legally be executed. The Saudi royal family has absolute power and is ranked worst of the worst by human rights groups. Despite the fact that Saudi Arabia does not conform to other cultures and actively prosecutes any religious beliefs that aren't a part of the Hanbali Islamic ideology. And it's not just with public symbols and traditions and culture. The Saudis stop Christians from practicing their faith even on private property. Private prayer meetings are getting rated the same way that marijuana dispensaries in California are rated. Except possibly even worse, because some Saudis beat and even kill Christians who are found practicing their faith. In 2011, 35 Christians were arrested for practicing Christianity. But after international outrage, the charges were changed to mixing with the opposite sex. But whatever the official reason, it's obvious that this was all about being Christian. Later in 2012, Saudi religious police detained more than 40 individuals after they accused them of plotting to celebrate Christmas. The Saudi Arabian government also imposes the death penalty on anyone caught smuggling Bibles into the country. And these aren't humane executions, if that were possible, but brutal beheadings. It is the only nation-state in the world with the official policy of banning all churches. Nina Shea, director of the Huston's Institute Center for Religious Freedom, told Fox News earlier this year. This is enforced even though there are over 2 million Christian foreign workers in that country. Those victimized are typically poor from Asia and Africa countries with weak governments. According to a Vimeo prayer-cast on the topic of persecuted Christians in Saudi Arabia, Christians in the country are raped, abducted, murdered, and beaten on a daily basis. And sadly, this ideology has reached its way across the West in the most horrific way. So if you want a blueprint for where the war on Christianity is heading here in the West, well, you can look no further than the Saudi royal family and the examples that they are currently setting. We very well may be on the brink of World War III breaking out in the Middle East, and the tensions between the Christians and Muslims and the secular world are sadly only going to increase. Thanks for watching, guys. Click the like button if you found this info to be useful, and check the links in the description for all the sources to this video, and also to where you can find out how to contribute to PFT by either donating or becoming a member. And stay tuned, guys. We've got a lot more videos coming soon to pressfortruth.ca.